right. So I started with that song because I wanted to start with the question of music. Um, to me, music is most certainly a rite of passage, and I didn't really get the whateverness either. Um, but I know that the chapter was focusing a lot on rites of passage in our society, which is a huge part of my story and a person's makeup as a person, is the what they have to accomplish and what they have to overcome, or I guess obstacles they have to overcome to become the person they are. And for me, I wasn't allowed to listen to music like Eminem or like Dr. Dre or Vulgar or Limp Bizkit, just any sort of vulgar music until I was like 12 or 13. I actually like made my mom give me for Christmas. I made her sign a contract that said that I could now listen to parental advisory music. Um, but that's a whole other story. That like was, I guess, a rite of passage for me. Um, it was a point that I still remember to this day as being very influential in my development, um, especially musically, because it's so much different to listen to explicit and censored music. Um, so music is very defining, especially to people. Also, it ties right into the bar aspect of this chapter. I'm just looking at it. Um, it seems they talk a lot about the problem of binge drinking, which I think is interesting because we all either have partaken or know somebody who has uh, partook, partook or partaken, and in binge drinking, and I mean I have for sure, and I do look at it as kind of a rite of passage. I drank a little bit in my senior year of high school, but that was pretty much it. I was very inexperienced when it came to college, and when it came to like drinking and having that freedom. And so when I came to college, the freedom of in the book it says doing things that your parents, oh, it's freedom, I can do whatever I want without my mom and dad finding out. That sort of notion was definitely present for me. uh, Luckily I didn't get in trouble or hurt in any way, but I do know a lot of people that have, and everyone's heard all the stories of drinking related deaths. But it's so interesting that they say college students don't seem to be dissuaded by drinking related deaths. And that's because it's not a health issue for us. It's very much so a personal freedoms issue, where if it wasn't this, it would probably be something else. But going out with your friends and being able to express yourself in that sort of unrestricted way is pretty huge. Um, I didn't really realize it, but you have to test your boundaries before you know what they are. Um, it is awful that there are people that die and don't know their boundaries until it's too late. But I also think that it's been a very helpful and um, personality building, and just has given me all sorts of personal knowledge about myself, finding these limits and testing these boundaries. And you go through it with the people that you know, and you figure it out, and it's all a rite of passage. um, I think that was a good mention that Ryan commented on. Was he was talking about bars, and I mean the chapter. So the playing of rite of passage into um, how it plays in bars, but I don't really get, like he was saying, I don't really get the why um, the type of music that's played has anything to do with it, because the way that Ulmer made it sound, he made it sound like almost a cultural thing, like the Afro-Cuban music is being played is tied into slavery somehow, and that, I mean, I don't know. I've never been to a bar that has Afro-Cuban music, but I constantly go to bars where they play hip-hop and rap, and that's like, hip-hop and rap are sort of the expression of for a lot of the African-American hip-hop artists, a lot of them are, it's kind of like a see how far we've come sort of mentality. In their raps, they rap about all the things that they have, and that I can see how that might be a counter expression to slavery and to all of the turmoils that they have gone through as people. But I never am in a bar and thinking that about that connection. I hear lots of hip hop and rap like all the time. It's probably my favorite thing to listen to. And I don't think of it as that. I think of it as a almost sort of like a poetry, but I guess I never had related the fact that that poetry could be expressed as a counter, as like kind of a resistance to the slavery movement, because a lot of it is about oppression and struggle or on the other side, riches and the money, cars, and hoes or whatever, which is, in a way, it's a counter. Like they're like African Americans used to not be able to do whatever they wanted to, and now they have this freedom, and it's sort of a rite of passage in their own sense, which is kind of an interesting and unplanned full circle to the music being a rite of passage thing. But I don't know. I didn't really agree with the fact that music is somehow like hearing a song at like what is played at a bar has a direct influence on, is like a statement or has some sort of idea or ideology related to slavery. Like when I hear white people sing, I don't think that they're somehow a direct connection to the Protestant Reformation, but I mean, it's a bit of a stretch. I just think that when bars or clubs play music, they're playing what they think the general population wants to hear, or whatever their specific niche wants to hear. So if this Afro-Cuban music is being played at a club or bar that is specifically aiming for African-American clients, then it might have a little bit more of an implicit meaning to it. But I don't see that much of a connection. I like to think of music as more of a unifying force as opposed to a divisive force, but that might be more idealistic than realistic. Then again, I haven't really agreed with Ulmer on a lot of what he says, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, thank you for watching, and I'm going to
Y'all act like you never seen a white person
play
before.
it out.
Jaws all on the floor like Pam, like Tommy just burst in the door and started whooping her.